The Lord be with you, and a warm welcome to you from all of us here in a very damp Powerscourt with Kilbride. My goodness, we have had a bad run of the weather of late. We are swamped and flooded, but you're very welcome to join us for our short service of worship if you can hear me over the rain this morning. Look at the stars, Abram, God says, as he takes one of his faithful followers and the father of the Jewish faith out into the open spaces to show him the bigger picture. But first, wherever we may be and however we come to God today, we pause for a moment to acknowledge the fact that we are not alone, that the Christ is with us now.
After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield. Your reward will be very great. But Abram said, O Lord God, what will you give me? For I continue childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus. And Abram said, You have given me no offspring, and so a slave born of my house is to be my heir. But the word of the Lord came to him. This man shall not be your heir. No one but your very own issue shall be your heir. He brought him outside and said, Look towards heaven and count the stars, if you are able to count them. Then he said to him, So shall your descendants be. And he believed the Lord, and the Lord reckoned it to him as righteousness. Then he said to him, I am the Lord who brought you from Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to possess. But he said, O Lord God, how am I to know that I shall possess it? He said to him, Bring me a heifer 3 years old, a female goat 3 years old, a ram 3 years old, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. He brought him all these and cut them in two, laying each half over against the other, but he did not cut the birds in two. And when birds of prey came down on the carcasses, Abram drove them away. As the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and a deep and terrifying darkness descended upon him. When the sun had gone down and it was dark, a smoking fire pot and a flaming torch passed between these pieces. On that day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, To your descendants I give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates.
God chooses extraordinary characters in the Bible, and indeed probably still today, to serve him. If you look back at the biblical timeline, you come across some rather amazing characters, called by God, doing amazing things, but they are flawed within themselves in many different ways as well, and they encounter huge mountains that they have to climb, huge tasks that they have to overcome. I think that it is in those flawed people that God calls that we can really see his hand at work within them. The way they evolve as a result of God is an inspiration to other people. So the first thing I would say to you today, as we look at that story of Abram was 75 years of age or thereabouts when God called him first. And yet he could hear the Lord, and he followed what he was told, and he encountered huge difficulties in the short space of time until we meet with him, in particular in this morning's reading. He has pulled up his tent pegs and he has moved he's moved away from everything that he's ever known. He's relying on a promise from God that he'll bring him to new ground, to new land. What do we learn from that already? But he is chosen, and God believes in him. And God knows, I'm sure, and we know, that through the hardships he grows to become the father of the Jewish faith and rechristened Abraham by God himself. The first thing I would say to you today is to know and realize that you're chosen. Realize that you don't have to be perfect to be chosen. In actual fact, God just needs solid people. He doesn't need you to be perfect. He just needs your heart. He needs your trust. He needs you to be able to trust that he is guiding you in your life. The second thing I would say to you today is this. Take a step out and have a look from up here down at your life and see what God is doing in it. Can you see how he is particularly working in your life, in the lives of those around you that are connected with you, and within yourself? What is he growing in you? What is he diminishing in you? What is he doing in you? Perhaps today afford yourself the time to step out and have a look, a bird's eye or a God's eye view at what is being done in your life at the moment. God knows literally that we need this now as we look at our world today. We need to know that he is there at the coalface and there as we look out at the bigger picture. Trust, look at the stars, Abraham. If you can count them, so shall your generations be. May God bless you today. May he give you the capabilities to step out of your life and look at the bigger picture. And above all things, to trust that he's with you and that he will guide you